Thanks, Sarmak. I'm Dave.
I'm Matthew, and today we've got the very turbocharged Audi SQ8.
That's right, the top of the line as far as Audi goes in SUV for luxury, power and, I don't know, coupe styling. Let's take a look around this. When it comes to Audi, the number 8 really does typify the top of the range. The RS8, the SQ8, the R8, they're all top of the line when it comes to power and luxury. And this SQ8 is no different. Up front here, they're all new octagonal grille. It's hard to miss. Has been described as being part of a horror movie, but you know, I actually really like it. It's very strong, very dominant. It's also got these dual vertical lines down here just to break it up a little bit, and also plenty of tech which I'll go into in a while. Around the side here you've got very dominant air vents taking or sucking lots of the air in and distributing it into the intercoolers, which we will show you in a minute. Huge amount of technology has gone into the eyesight of this SUV. LEDs across here, very long range and very bright. Round the side, look at these beasties. 22 inches of just massive 285s, 40R22s. There's so much rubber going on here. A rubber plant would be going out of business without these coming in. And just very sharp looking. Nice red calipers here to stop this 2.3 tons from going too far, and it really does pull it up nicely. Look at here, these blistered wheel arches as well, just trying to hide this big rubber underneath. Down the side, its silhouette, if you squint a lot, you'll be able to see the Italian member of this Volkswagen family in here. But it's on the same platform, and very much this coupe styling takes a nice flow down towards the rear end. Let's take a look at the rear end. Round the rear, roofline spoiler as expected. These LED lights back here are directional when it comes to indication. You've got quad exhausts. Well, actually you've got 2 exhausts that are real. 2 are pretty blacked out, but you know, let's not worry about there. And when you open up the boot, 605 litres of boot space. It's got a retractable parcel shelf, which is actually really cool. Under here there is a space saver, which is 20 inches, so you're going to be pretty lopsided if you do have a puncher. But a cool function is here. For those of us that are starting to get a little bit weaker, push here and the whole rear end goes down and also raises back up again. That's enough of the tail end. Let's look under the business end. A very clever tri-turboed 4-litre V8 TDI, 320 kilowatts, 900 newton meters. It'll go to 0 to 100 in 4.8 seconds, but it's a 48 volt mild hybrid. So the first turbo is an electric turbo somewhere over there. Then you've got a bigger turbo coming up to a bigger turbo. So essentially you've got electric, turbo, turbo. That's a lot of turbos. And what it means is this thing really just picks up its skirt and runs. But before we show you that, let's have Matthew give you a tour on the inside.
So this is the Audi SQ8. It's the sport model. It's the 8th line, I guess you could say, in the Audi range. It's the SUV equivalent of the A8. And as Dave showed you, from the outside you can just tell straight away that this is meant to be the posh, quick Audi in this range. And on the inside you can't forget that either. The key's got a nice big S on it to remind you what model you're driving. There's a nice big S on the steering wheel here as well, which is, by the way, chunky and flat bottom, just like a performance car should be, just like the Urus is as well. There's a familiar interior here if you've seen other videos with Audis in it, especially the e-tron. You've got the 2 screens in the middle over here, which have got This screen has got some really fancy graphics, by the way. I wonder if Audi has a separate team just to handle this kind of stuff. Everything you need is over here, I guess. The radio, how you control your phone, the settings for the car as well, raising the suspension, changing the driving modes. And then there's another screen down here which is for your climate control. Again, you get this nice big gear stick over here, covered in leather, of course. Again, this is the 8 series. Park buttons on there, and it's finished in a bit of chrome as well, which doesn't actually attract any fingerprints. That's a nice touch, Audi. As you know, you've watched our videos before, I like to poke around and see where the hard plastics are in cars. But unfortunately, I come back with some negative reports this time, because this car just doesn't have any. It's just all soft stuff. I mean, there's leather everywhere, and where there isn't leather you get really soft plastics, which, you know, you're not bound to scratch anything on, and you're not bound to file your nails on. Again, continuing with the theme of the S model, there's a really soft armrest right here, wrapped in full leather, and if you pop that up, somebody's wallet is in there, free cash. But apart from that, there's wireless charging for your phone in here, and if your phone doesn't have wireless charging yet, there's a couple of charging ports in there, both USB, and both are USB. Close that and bring your attention to this leather seat. It's got S on the back of it, so it reminds you again that you are in an S car. But what's even better is the quilted leather. I mean, I just love that, and the fact that it's so soft, especially this headrest. So when you put your foot down and experience those 3 turbos and that 900 Newton meters of torque, the fall backwards into the seat is comfortable. It's almost like falling on a bed of feathers or something. Just beautiful. Now, we'll just take a quick look at the virtual cockpit over there. Right now it's in dynamic mode, and it's in the more traditional configuration, if you like, where you've got the rev meter on the left and the speed on the right. And if you've noticed here, the only things that aren't actually digital are the fuel gauge, which is on this side here, and the oil temperature, which is on that side there. But what's in the middle over there is the maps, which are, by the way, incredibly sharp. You rarely see this on cars, and you know, there's plenty to fiddle around with. I can zoom in here, I can flick through the different menus, you can see your phone connectivity there, what radio station you're playing. It even gives you how much range there is. It tells you everything you need to know. And if you want to know, you're a bit lost, you know, sense of direction isn't really your strength, you can press this button here that says view, and that'll give you a really sort of wide angle view of where you are, and incredibly sharp in picture as well, as you can see there. Oh, really close to the coast. You know what I feel like? A beach. If you find that a little bit distracting, you know, the view is a bit too nice for you, you can also have your navigation on the center screen here, just to take it away from your eyes there. So if you press the navigation button here, there you go, there's your view again. And it even gives you live traffic updates over there, your elevation, what level of zoom you're on, all that sort of stuff. Which way is north, even, if you like. It's all got it. Again, as Dave showed you, you know, this is a big car. It takes quite a bit of, I guess, expertise to know where your bonnet is. But if you'd like the car to do all the work, it will happily do that. And you put this into reverse and you get really a clear view of what's behind you, what's around you. Of course, it's got 360-degree cameras. And after you finish your maneuvering and you put it into drive, you'll get a view of the front camera as well. And because this car has so many cameras around, you can actually have a play around and, you know, explore all the different camera angles. There you go, that's the wide angle of the back. This is the 2 sides of the car. And these are especially good off-road because you can see exactly where you are and if you're about to scrape any boulders or anything. There's your full 360 view, and this is your front camera again. There's the front without the car in the view. This makes me feel like a really small person, and cars don't usually make me feel like that. And again, it's not just the legs where I guess I feel like a small person. There's tons of headroom over here as well. And why I talk about that, because this car has got a 10 speaker Bang & Olufsen speaker system. As far as I could count 10. There's probably more hidden all over the place. And there's 2 hidden quite conveniently very close to your head up here. And even though you think, you know, that you've got big beefy speakers in the back there, there's still a heap of headroom over there. The seats are movable, so if you don't like to feel as small as I am right now, there's a little lever under here. Pull it up and forward you go, or back if you like. You can also use it to adjust how much space you've got in the boot as well, depending on if you've got skis or whatever you want to store in here. Probably a lot of business suits, because it is your executive car. But anyway, it's luxurious, yes, but it's got 2 proper turbos and 1 electric turbo underneath. So let's see how that feels. Let's take it for a drive.
Let's face it, luxury, sport and diesel don't generally go hand in hand in anything really. However, with this SQ8, Audi seem to have pulled it off with a trifecta of a 48 volt electric turbo and 2 other turbos. You seem to have a really good all-round sporty SUV.
Yep, and not to forget the luxurious bit of it as well. This cabin's completely covered in leather, and with the 3 turbos you think, oh, that sort of power would be just insane, but the way Audi have engineered this car is that it delivers the power really linearly. So even though you're driving along and you're putting your foot hard down, you don't think that you're going that fast, and then that's until you look at the speedometer and you're like, whoa, okay, a bit too fast there.
Yeah, treble digits that come at under 5 seconds is always quite a winner, and I think you really do have to watch this. You're going to lose your license quite quickly. But the other thing is how well this big wide SUV can handle the bends. I mean, it's not gravity defying or anything like that, but it's just, it hugs so well. It just seems to take a turn in its stride, and it's quite a wide stride, and I think that is the secret.
It is definitely. You saw Dave showed you the width of those tires before, and not just that, but the way the stance of the car is. It's wide, and it's that coupe style, which sort of, even though it's an SUV, it doesn't actually feel that high off the ground, which kind of gives it that really sporty feeling in the corners, and the grip is just immense. Remember, this is a 2.3 ton SUV.
And you sort of feel that 2.3 tons, but then again you don't. It's bizarre. It feels heavy until you put your foot down and then notice that you're doing 100 kilometers per hour without sniffing, without losing any sweat at all. The refinement, as Matthew says, beautiful. It's lavish leather, piano blacks, soft rubbers. Everything around is just really Audi luxury, and it feels that way. You feel like you've spent the money on the vehicle, and you have actually spent the money on the vehicle.
And not just that, you're floating around in a cushion of air. I mean, the suspension can be raised or lowered, but when you're driving on a road, even a bumpy one or even a rough one, you really don't feel anything. The car just doesn't transmit any of that into the cabin, and that just gives it such a luxurious feel.
Actually, that is a really good point. I took the family earlier to the beach, which meant gravel roads, and you flick the switch to all road and it just drives so nicely. You don't feel the corrugated bumps that I've driven along the same road in a truck, and you know, you are jarred a lot, but this just seems to float. And then you've also got off-road mode, easy. So variable heights are great. It hunkers down when you want to put your foot down into sport and dynamic. It's got a level playing field when you're in comfort, and a raised platform when you go into off-road or all-road.
And when you're putting your foot down, as Dave just did, you're gonna need these soft headrests, and it's a really good thing that they are soft. And so are the seats, actually. The suspension may be a cloud, but the seats are kind of a, another cloud, if you like. You're just enveloped in comfort.
The thing I do want to bring up is the fact of how far apart we are, and you know, we're quite a close team here, but there's there's the shoulder width is just massive, and that's front and rear.
Yep.
Leg room for me, I mean, you know, a small stool has got plenty of leg room, but literally there's loads and loads of room, and it's just spacious. The interior's massive and feels that way.
There's a ton of space front and back, and I don't think if you had 4 people in the car here, you'd probably really have to shout to get out in the back, because you are literally that far apart. And you can clearly see that from the outside of the car, that it is a big car, and in that sense the cameras and all the sensors and stuff become really important then, because they just make life so much easier when you're maneuvering this car around tight places.
As normal, we'd think of an elephant in the room, but to be honest, I don't think there is. Possibly the fact that some of the overseas models do have a V8 petrol engine option, and I think that's something that we will probably get here as an RS SQ8. That's a mouthful, but I think that's something to look forward to. But you're not going to feel too cheated when you hear this V8 roar and find out that it's actually diesel. So it's actually fairly economical, and also when you start going into normal mode, part of the engine does shut down, so you can be on long runs, you can sip fuel a little bit better, which is actually a really nice coasting mode.
And that's really the benefit of having a diesel, that you know, you get that immense torque from this engine, and this engine really does have a ton of torque, but you also have the ability to drive kind of conservatively, like, and sip fuel, as Dave said. There's the chance to do both, and there's a chance to put your foot down and hear a bit of that slightly fettled roar, but it's still a roar at the end of it.
And 3.5 ton towing is not to be sniffed at either. This is a vehicle that you will tow your boat to the batch in the middle of nowhere and enjoy, or you know, tow your caravan, tow whatever you want to do. Actually,
you could probably tow your batch somewhere as well.
It's a luxurious, sporty SUV with a diesel engine and 3 turbos. The MMI system's tremendous, it's very technologically advanced, the screens are great, it's good fun to play with even if you're not driving.
It really is just all that. It's luxurious, it's fast, it's really grunty and really powerful, and then there's all this technology around. It just makes life so much easier. It's just an all-around fast luxury SUV.
Yours. Thanks for watching, make sure you subscribe.
And we'll see you next time for more stuff like this.
Cheers.